Hello, world. Welcome to Pardon the Politics Podcast, Season 2, Episode 15. I am your co host, Jeezy, along with my brother and my partner in politics, Manny. Manny, what's good, my brother, on this fine day?
I got a lot of problems this morning.
Uh oh.
And
Uh
I think our listeners from the pod should hear about them.
oh. Here we go. Here we
We
what
just
type
getting
of
right into it, y'all.
yeah. This what type of time. This what type of time we on. Let's go.
All right. First off, I just finished doing my taxes. This some bullshit. This some bullshit. I'm tired. I'm tired.
Was that movie clip? I'm tired, Grandpa.
Bro. And here's my thing about it, G's. The federal government knows how much. So, y'all, here's what taxes are. Taxes are a quiz by the federal government to see if I know how much I owe them.
You pop
But they
quiz.
already know it. Y'all already know. Just tell me how much I owe.
Bruh, just
Let
tell me how much
check
I
the
owe y'all,
math.
bro.
Just tell me. Just tell me.
Bro,
That's the
that's
first.
funny. I've never heard nobody put it that way, bro.
How much do you think? And if I'm wrong, I go to jail.
Yep. Pop quiz. And if you don't get it right, we sending you to jail.
We're sending you to jail.
The pressure. The pressure. Bro, I'm sorry, buddy, but just you saying that is funny to me because why do people lie about taxes when the government already knows?
They already know.
Has there been anybody that got away with this? Like, Uncle Sam don't play about the money. He
Bro,
know.
you can get off for murder. You can
Bruh.
get off for drug trafficking. But as long as you claim all that illegal money on your taxes, you're gonna be good to go.
Bruh, that is crazy.
So that's my first problem this morning.
Okay.
My second problem. That ain't a damn dire wolf. Y'all done took a gray wolf and modified its genes. And according to my rabbit hole research, dire wolves are closer to coyotes. So what did y'all just create? Bruh.
Hey, bro, hold on.
I'm so tired.
That is not a dire wolf.
It's not a dire wolf. It can't be a dire wolf. Like what? Bro. And this is all fun and games. Until they're like, oh, we're going to release them back in the wild. Here we go. We go. There are countless movies that have told us and shown us why this is a bad idea.
This is a bad idea.
But hey, y'all cook.
Timelines
already messed up.
Out of all the things, bro, that you could be doing, we get dire wolves, bro.
Dire wolf. No cancer.
No cancer, no
nothing.
Autism, nothing. Well, RFK did say
RFK's on it though.
He said by September. September, we gonna know. He go, bro. Watch September coming. He gonna say something wild.
Bro.
It was a Mondo juices that we drunk as kids that brought autism into the world, bro.
All that Sunny Delight y'all were drinking.
The glue on the packaging for the Capri Sun straw seeped into the plastic, and we now have autism.
That's
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle pizza. Autism. Bro, quit playing with us.
Bro, I'm just saying. Hello, listeners. Well, I hope y'all are having a great week.
Welcome, listeners, to the new episode of Pardon the Politics. As you can see what type of time we are on today with this episode. We, as always, thank you for tuning in and listening. As you can tell, we're growing quite tired of this timeline.
So tired.
And as the days and months progress, it gets a little harder to do these episodes with any seriousness when we are part of the circus that we call America today. So
this would be a hilarious reality TV show if we weren't the stars.
Bruh, thank you.
If we weren't the stars, I'd be looking at this completely differently. But we are the stars.
This is a real life season of The Office, I feel like.
Yep.
It's just always something every day, every week. And that's something.
Even every hour. Even by the hour.
By the hour, bro. Like literally by the hour is always something. And by that's a great segue that you give me to our first topic when it comes by the hour, because when we look at our tariffs, they seem to be changing by the hour. And by the time we report on one aspect of tariffs, we have a new one that comes out. So after
we worked on putting this docket together for y'all, and at least 2 or 3 changes have happened since that moment.
I can't keep up, and I don't think anybody else can. So,
so we're all gonna be here and try together.
We're gonna just try to piece it all together as one big family. On April the 13th, a few days after our Great Liberation Day, President Donald Trump's tariff policies have undergone yet again significant changes. And those changes, as of today, and I feel like we have to say as of today, particularly concerning electronics and trade relations with China. I don't know why. China said they won't smoke. So
they said they're ready.
They're ready.
They're ready.
So after Trump went back and forth with China on tariffs, I think we started out at 34%.
Well, it started high when the initial wave was thrown out there. I think cumulatively we were at like 54%.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
By the end of it, we got to about 145.
With China saying, okay, bet 125 on your stuff.
Bro, at 145% tariff. It's a wild number. First of all, how is Trump coming up with these numbers? I feel like he's playing blackjack. And if he wins, he's like, oh, cool, I got the 20% tariff. Deal me another card. Oh, we got this? Oh, yeah. It's the most ridiculous numbers that he chooses. But he had these tariffs, and then he announced some exemptions. So we have tariffs that are imposed, and then he comes out. We've seen it before where I think even he had like a 90-day pause, and he kind of went over. He was at some event. I saw a clip where he was talking like, oh, these countries are basically kissing the ring and begging me to negotiate, which I think that he's lying. I'm sure countries would like to negotiate, but I don't think that it's in the manner in which
I don't think they're begging.
Yeah, I don't think they're begging you, and I think that tone is very destructive because he's trying to push a narrative. And when you got a country like China that we're seeing, they like, oh, okay, bet, like we ain't punks, like we're not backing down. You're not scaring us. In this exemption, he exempt key consumer electronics, which included smartphones. So, man, even though you got your new iPhone, there's hope that if you want to upgrade, we may be fine. Laptops, memory cards, semiconductors, and solar cells. They were exempt from his recently imposed reciprocal tariffs.
Yep.
These products, which previously faced tariffs as high as 145%, are now only subject to the universal 10%. So we're back down from 145 to 10. Now, I believe that this is the thing that's odd with me when it comes to these tariffs, especially from these exemptions, is that his billionaire friends are being hit so significantly from this. Apple is one. Elon, we've already talked before about how Elon's taking hits with Tesla. But you think about Apple and what they're able to do. I think I saw a report that Apple was actually looking at shifting and moving some of their production around, moving some of it from China to India to try to kind of avert some of these things. So I again, and we've said it previously, I don't understand what is the goal.
I don't know.
Unless he's just trying to set the globe on fire. I mean,
that's always an option.
Yeah.
You would think that a man very well versed in business would be very much pro free trade to really encourage, goods to be shipped all across, for free, for low cost. But that doesn't seem to be the goal. I know he's trying to leveled the field with trade deficits. I don't know if any of these countries will ever actually lower the trade deficit, nor do we actually need to lower the trade deficit. But it's very interesting that China, Mexico, and Canada have been our biggest punching bags in terms of all this.
Yeah.
And, I think you're seeing the softening tone on Canada and Mexico. But I think a lot of that is, if you looked at the Senate, Tom Tillis and everyone starting to get fed up with all this and looking at taking this power back. And I think he's now in a situation where he's like, if I don't tread lightly here, I might lose control of the Congress, who will snatch this power away from me. Now,
but will they?
But
is it enough of them fed up to even make that a real possibility?
You need 60 people in the House. So you need probably about 5-10 Republicans to flip. And then you need the House, I think, probably lose about 3 or 4 people. So it's possible. We're in a number range where it's possible.
Okay.
But I mean, shout out to everyone who's working in the stock market and traders, because I know they all looked like that Popeyes lady.
Tired
when this was going on.
Tired, bro. Like this is insane. The impact and just the response of how all of this has taken place. We've seen the market. I mean, it's gone crazy.
Yeah.
I think that in some places, and we've even talked about it in the previous episode, that like Fox News had took the ticker away just because the market, the needle was just all over the place. And even when he announced a 90-day pause on global tariffs, but he maintained that 10% base rate. There still were massive adjustments that were happening to the market. The market rebound, I believe S&P had like a 500 point recovery. They ended up valuing to like $4 trillion in value. Like,
well, remember as soon as they got enlisted, stocks were crashing. That tweet came out saying, hey, he was going to do a 90-day pause. That sent it up 8%, only to say, hey, no, that's not the case, to watch it come crashing back down. That is one of the reasons I feel like the U.S. dollar became the reserve currency of the world, is because of our stability and predictability of our market and our economy. And maybe that's the goal, you know, us stop being the reserve currency, so people hold fewer of our dollars to change some of our purchasing power. That's a wild way to go about it. To get countries to the table to negotiate. There are lots of clips out there from economics experts that are way far versed in this than either of us.
Yeah,
have essentially said tariffs are definitely a tactic to get countries to the table to talk about issues if they're short term. And I think that's the other uncertain part when you look at our market. Like, are these short term? Like, how long are you going to continue this pissing match with China on tariffs that produces, if China does not produce it and directly ships it to the U.S., it produces it, sends it someplace else and sends it to the U.S. So they are so key in our manufacturing infrastructure that even in the perfect world, and we've said this before, even in a perfect world, every major U.S. company says, nah, we're done with this. We're moving everything back on shore. We're looking at least 5 to 7 years to get just the infrastructure built, ignoring hiring, ignoring training to get these markets up to par.
Yeah, and that's the... And I've had that question before, is that this goal of using tariffs to persuade, or I think in the way that Trump's using it, I would almost throw out the word bully some of these companies into coming back. There's so much substantial infrastructure that has to be in place for that to even take place. You think of like the technology of semiconductors or building some of these assets. Even if these companies were able to bring these things back on shore, where it would be the programs for reskilling workers to be able to do these jobs? Where would the training, like, think about from a financial perspective how much it costs to enable somebody to have these abilities or these skills to do these jobs that are not currently over here, and not just be able to do them, but having enough workforce that can do them at the quality and level that we need them to, so that they are beneficial to making them out to the consumer. And then what does that cost look like in America? Because I'm just throwing a number out there. Let's say the working in an Apple plant in China, let's say they're paying workers $3 an hour. Okay.
Which may be high, according to my understanding. Super high. These are your top skilled workers.
Hey, somebody would have listened over in China like, oh, $3.
Where they do that at?
Where do I fill out that application at in Indeed? But let's say it's $3. What does that number look like in the U.S.? Because we still are struggling with a minimum wage number here in this country, which it's funny to me. And first of all, I want to say thank you, Lord, that minimum wage has no impact on me. That I'm blessed that is not a factor in my life. Thank you, Lord.
Because there was a
time in my life where that number was
would have been a whole lot. A whole lot to the kid.
First of all, before I say anything else, I want to say thank you, Lord, for blessing the boys that don't bother us. But when I think about it, we still can't agree on a number of minimum wage that needs to be the standard in this country. So you want to bring jobs here, and what is the cost? Because I'm sure these companies are going to look to keep their costs as low as possible coming over to the U.S. Well, if they were paying $3 in China, who's to say that this factory, they're looking like, okay, $9 is what we're looking at. Bro, no, sir. No, that's not going to happen. So that's a shrinkage in the workforce to take on those jobs and those abilities, which probably don't come with the best of benefits. So you think of somebody working in a factory making an iPhone, they're going to be wanting to make a certain amount of money, and these companies aren't bringing it here to basically double their cost. You can say how much red tape you want to slash and how many tax cuts you're going to make. At the end of the day, call it what it is. These people are greedy. So they're going to look to keep it as cheap and as much as possible. So I wonder oftentimes when they say things like, oh, well, Trump will say, Apple said that they're willing to bring 500,000 manufacturing jobs over in the U.S. by 10 years. Are they really like, brother, this man ain't going to be around in 10 years. We just going to tell him that so he'll give us what we want right now. And, we still going to keep it moving in China and India.
Well, again, I think it's really important to remind ourselves about how everything is interconnected.
Yeah.
Because I got a 401k.
Yeah.
So the profit lines of these companies, while directly does not impact me today. If I'm looking at that long-term performance of my 401k, I need these companies to do well and do well consistently. Yeah. So it's like for us as Americans, how we're set up, like we need them to keep doing that. Now there's a whole nother discussion here about labor exploitation around the world. We're not here to have that conversation today because we're not. I can feel it now. The listeners like, whoa, you guys we're not ignoring it. Nope. That's just not the topic of discussion today. Not today. Not today. So, you know what? Where's my aluminum foil?
Hold on.
I didn't pull it out and had it completely ready for the pod today, but let me reach for it.
Hold on, I got you, brother. You ready?
All right, hit me. All right. Is the U.S. preparing for a long-time war economy? And And why I asked that, so a couple of, we rewind back to COVID, and we saw the U.S. government take a kind of unprecedented step where they stepped in and they started saying, oh, this company, so Bauer. Bauer is a hockey equipment maker. And I don't know if this is U.S. and Canada, but I'll still use this example.
Okay.
They reached out, you see the U.S. and Canada reached out to Bauer and said, hey, we need you guys to stop making hockey equipment, and we need y'all to start making face shields. Y'all already know how to make face shields for
goalies and stuff.
Yep, convert it. Let's figure out how to do health. And in times of emergency, we know that the U.S. government has the ability to take over manufacturing in the U.S. to produce the things that we need in an emergency. What if we are trying to bring all this infrastructure back on shore? So when and if we go to war, we have the manufacturing capabilities to be able to produce everything that we need.
Bro, that sounds exhausting.
I just want the TVA to just show up real soon and be like, oh, hold on, yeah, this timeline's got out of control. We're going to go ahead and prune it. We're going to reset it back. But it's this whole pissing match between the U.S. and China is the two largest economies in the world who are truly interdependent on each other. The U.S. is the top destination for all Chinese goods.
Yeah.
I think in total it was about 580, approaching 600 billion.
Wow.
Is imported into the U.S. So a lot of these Chinese companies rely on the U.S. and the consumer demand to really drive their own growth in manufacturing, especially with electronics, appliances, all the industrial things. Our supply chains are tied. And then on top of that, so you take all of that out, let's just focus on the financial implications of it. China holds a little bit over, I'm not sure the exact amount, but I believe it's at least $850 billion in U.S. treasuries. Wow. China continuously buys our U.S. treasuries that the U.S. continuously has to sell because we can't stay on a federal budget to provide to our people here in the United States to be able to continue to buy the stuff from China. So it's like we are really interdependent on each other. And I hate how much he's on TV right now. But Mr. Wonderful, first off, you're a Canadian. Go back up north.
Go home.
Go home, Roger. But he pointed out the issue with like China constantly stealing intellectual property and all of that. And I'm like, there's got to be an easier way to have these discussions instead of doing it like this.
Yeah, I agree. I think there has to be some method to accomplishing the goal that doesn't involve chaos.
Lives are going to be lost over this.
Yeah.
In one or two ways, either qualities within these manufacturing plants, loss of job revenue. Every time there's a layoff, I don't know the exact percentage, but there is a percentage of people that unalive themselves as due to it.
Yeah,
like that is a reality. Then on top of that, you're looking at the cost of pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
Dealing with that. So now you're having people trying to, on top of already having to make that decision, continuously having to decide if I'm going to get this medicine or I'm going to feed my family. People are going to die over this. And I don't think we are treating it with that level of realization.
Yeah, and that has been a concern of mine when it comes to Trump is that this is, and we've said it again, we've said it on previous episodes, this is not running just some company. The decisions that you make in real time have implications that will affect not just Americans, but just there is global implications to the things that you do.
Yep.
This is not a job that you play games with, or that you get to experiment and test out your little theories or whatever your buddies say behind closed doors, that, hey, if we do this, maybe we'll do that, or something that you read off of Truth Social or heard Steve Bannon or Roger Stone say. These are legit, like, decisions that have real life consequences that are irreversible. Mm-hmm. And they should be treated as such. And I think that's what has been such an issue with me with how the tariff war or trade war has gone, is because it's not a game.
Right.
It's not a game. This isn't fun for any of us. Nope. Certainly the people that are controlling, looking at the market, the stock market, and running the numbers obviously don't feel that this is a game. So why is it that Trump can be more, well, I don't know. I was about to say he could be more strategic than this, but maybe he can't. Maybe this is his game.
His hand.
Yeah,
his hand.
This is his MO. This is how he moves. But there are real life implications that come with the moves that we're making from doing all of this, and I just wonder how does he think that he's going to achieve the goal? Because if I'm gonna be honest with you, I believe are we past 90 days? Are we right up on it?
Look, I was looking at it earlier. The 100 days is going to be on April 29th.
Okay, so
we getting close. So we're not there yet, but we're right up there on 90 days.
So with us coming along on it, I feel like, and this could be something later on down the road, but so far all we have is chaos.
Yeah. And
we have not been able to solve any issues. I think that we may have made matters slightly worse.
But the winning is coming, man. The winning is coming. We just got to be patient.
Hey, man, this ain't the Philadelphia 76ers when they drafted Joel Embiid and said, trust the process. Nah. If you came and you said all these you talking big talk, I need you to big walk.
Right.
And I don't think that's happening.
And the one thing that I hope for in all this, well, first off, I know the good Lord works everything out to our favor, so first we're going to start off there.
Yes, sir.
But I want Trump to be successul. He is the president of the United States.
And I agree with you. I want everybody, before you tell you, I just want everybody to understand that we want
this to be good. We want this to go well.
Work. Yes.
But I just don't know. Again, the thing we've said repeatedly on this is I don't know what the plan is.
Yeah.
It feels like we are building the plane as we are flying it, and no one has a degree in aerospace engineering on this plane.
Bruh.
No one. Not no one from Boeing. I don't even care if it's a janitor from Boeing. No one. No one from Lockheed Martin. No one from Airbus. Bro, it's two people from Trump and Sons, golf courses and casinos.
Bro, first of all, Trump and Sons is wild. but with you saying that, what is the plan? I wonder, Mandy. I wonder, is this the plan? And I want to play you a clip.
Is this market manipulation?
No. No.
Why not? If it was a plan, if it was always the plan, how is this not market manipulation?
Is that the plan? And the reason I say that, I want to play you another clip. I want to play our listeners another clip. This was inside. This is inside the Oval Office now. This was inside. Trump had some of his buddies in there.
This is Charles Schwab. It's not just a company, it's actually an individual. And he made $2.5 billion today, and he made $900 million. That's
They're discussing who made what today, how they made it.
There was a there was a key point that, I threw it in the group chat when it happened, but not exactly when it happened, after I realized it, which was far too late. But
Is that the case? Is that the case for all of us, bro?
Well, on Truth Social, he hopped on and said, hey, the markets will be fine. This is a great time to buy. Everyone, don't worry. Go ahead and buy. And no less than about 2 to 3 hours later, he announced the 90-day pause. Look,
bruh,
if it walks like a duck,
hey, bruh,
and talks like a duck, Aflac, man, Aflac. Look, if it's not market manipulation, first of all, if it's not market manipulation, then either I don't know what market manipulation is,
bruh,
or it's market manipulation. Like,
I think that it's a strong case. If it's not manipulation, it's at least significantly influencing
it's like
the market.
Okay. So if Trump hopped on Truth Social and made an announcement to the world that everyone needs to buy, is it still insider trading? Hey,
I'm glad that you brought that up, because with some details that I was looking up, they were saying that this whiplash style or pattern of dips and surges in the market is ideal for insider trading or benefiting aligned investors. This is what you want to do. And some of this, I just want to, for example, and we've talked about it, but I just want to give our listeners a pattern. From April 1st to April the 2nd, he announced tariffs, including 145% rate on electronics, and the market crashed. From the 11th through the 12th, he exempted consumer electronics and rescinded that claim before carrying it back down to 10. The market rebounded drastically. So to me, it looks like he playing a game. Okay, I do this happens. I do this happens. Now you come into timing of when he does these things. Now, it has been reported that people are putting these details together, and they're saying this may be manipulation, is that they feel like that when Trump has been doing this, it's been very strategic. The timing of when he does these things, the pauses and the exemptions tend to follow market sell-offs or negative economic forecasts, and some have said that he's even done these before major fundraising events or political deadlines, leading to suspicion that they're designed to support his allies and boost their confidence. Bruh,
I don't know.
He playing it. They playing in our face. And in front of the clip that we just heard now. His homies in the White House. Hey, he made 2.5 billion a day. He made 900 million a day. Now how is this money being made? You the one that's pausing and playing the button. And it said that a lot of the portfolios of a lot of his allies and his donors have been very sector specific in the relief that he's given them, like the exemptions on Apple products and the solar sales. And they're calling it telegraphed chaos to let his insiders front run market moves. Bruh, is it illegal?
Look, shout out to Unusual Whales who track portfolios of politicians. But okay, let's put all this aside a moment. Okay. It's a lot to put aside. But why are y'all doing this game with China? Y'all don't want to try this on some. Try this with the EU first. Someone who can't really fight back as strongly. I don't think people are realizing to the level that China is prepping to fight back. If I look on my TikTok feed.
Bro, they said something on the clip like they're using the same, like China's using the same verbiage or language as if like they're legit going to war. They like, yo, squad up.
And here's one of the major differences I think we forget between China and the U.S. We have more ready access to information to ask these questions. They don't have that over there. So it's a whole lot easier, I would assume, to get your people on board to going through with this. I heard somebody say China's been around for 5,000 years, and China's going to be around for the next 5,000 years. U.S. just got on the block. It's true. But so over the last 48 hours, the TikTok algorithm has just been feeding me all of these manufacturers that will produce. Look, bro. And I'm at the big age where I just want stuff to be comfortable. So if you tell me you can make me sneakers of Nike quality in my size, and for the price of what I would get one here, I can get about 5 of them, boy.
Oh, yeah.
Sir, if I was getting direct from China, my wardrobe would be wild.
Right.
Look, at this rate, my wife and kids, all the females in life, they about to get some furkin bags for for Christmas. Everyone with a furkin.
Everybody getting the furkin.
Wow.
Gucci. Firkin.
some Louis.
Bro, yep, Louis.
Not Louis. Louis. Lewis. Yep.
Some Fikey. We get it right.
I just want to be comfortable.
Yep. Hey, bro. And look, and it's funny because when you say that, I'm like, you have the TikTok shop,
Right.
you got Shein, Temu. Hey, bro. They already like, hey, look, everything that you want to put a tariff on, cool. We'll just copy it and sell it for cheaper, and it'll be fine. And everybody been buying it,
right? Now there are a couple things that's probably not going to work. I'm probably not going to be able to get knockoff Bluey toys.
Oh, bro, yeah, nah.
Or Paw Patrol.
Nah.
I might. But think about that. So if you think the American consumer, the impact it would do to Nike, if we just stopped buying directly from Nike and started buying directly from China, these same quality, all it's missing is a logo.
Hey, bro.
I agree. First of all, I think some of these brands need to realize some of these millennials that are starting to come into adult money.
Yeah.
I wore Shaqs to school. Shaqs were the first shoe name brand that the kid had.
Bruh.
So, first of all, getting clowned for not having label ain't nothing new for me.
Bro, look, I ain't new to
Shout
this.
out to Shaq. Yeah, shout out to Shaq setting the boy up with his first major brand.
Bruh, I have never had a pair of Shaqs in my life.
Bro. So this not having the Nike suits means nothing to me.
Don't mean nothing to me.
Absolutely nothing.
Bro, that is so funny. Like at our age, I don't know if you remember the trend, and some of our listeners may remember. A couple of weeks ago, maybe it was a couple of months ago, the trend was going around of the Walmart shoes. And they were like, hey, these look just like the New Balances. That first of all, a lot of these shoes in our adult age, I remember some of these shoes were $50. Why are you charging me almost $200 for a pair of New Balances? Why? I remember when no one even wore these shoes. The only people that wore these shoes were people that worked on fries, mop floors, were janitors, or at a hospital or at a school. Why are these shoes now $200? But the trend was that these shoes look very similar to the ones that were at Walmart, and they were like $25 at Walmart, and people were buying them up. And I said, okay, people are not caring anymore, and these Nike, New Balance, you better start realizing that big price tag ain't working no more.
I remember growing up, I was at a thrift store, and my parents got me a Champion T-shirt. This is the 90s. Wore that to school, got clowned to Kingdom Come.
Bruh.
But if I would have rocked some Champion,
bruh, a Champion shirt cost you like $50-$60
right?
Bruh, I remember nobody wore. I remember having a pair of Champion shoes, and I thought them joints were clean. They was like, bro, them joints is mad ugly. Now, different ball game, bro. So that goes to show you that obviously there is a big consumer base that don't care for the label as long as they can get the comfort. And it look halfway decent.
Well, think about it. Like right now, the items are either coming straight from the manufacturer in China to the U.S. or they're going to some third party country that's going to add some finishing details and send that over. When they're sending these over, they're at bulk prices. So there's maybe a shoe. They're selling it for $5. Well, Manny come through. Yeah, I buy that for $10 direct. Oh, they don't sold 2 shoes? What? Bro, we about to be in it.
The shoes don't make the man. The man make the shoes. And if China make the shoes, the man will wear the shoes.
Every day. China making the shoes right now.
You already making them. Look, you already know. You already got the equipment. You already got the supplies. You take that label off. You can put it, for all I care, you can put dog crap in Chinese on the side of the shoe, and I'm wearing them.
I can't read it.
I can't. I don't know what they say.
Bro, I got no idea. And hold on, let me pull up my calculator. So let's say I spend $10 on a pair of shoes, and let's just add the 145% tariff on there. That is a $14.50 shoe. That same shoe from Nike is $120.
Like what Martin say, I'll pay the fine.
I pay the fine.
I'll pay it. Bro, that ain't no problem. That ain't no problem.
No problem.
So I don't know what kind of game you think you playing, Donald Trump. But we gonna buy them shoes.
We gonna buy them shoes and pay them tariffs.
Matter of fact, China don't even worry about it. They ain't got to be no debate who gonna pay the 145.
We gonna pay it.
I'll pay the 145 gladly
because we still saving $80.
Bingo. So I don't know what kind of war you think you playing and what games you playing, but look, one thing for sure. We always love to cut out the middleman.
Always love to cut out the middleman.
There are savings when you cut out the middleman, and if the middleman so happen to be the United States, whammy.
Little FAFO.
Look, let me go ahead and go to Walmart and get one of them prepaid debit cards and put my money on, and that's how I'm gonna buy the shoes. So they ain't got my credit card information.
Bro, I'm gonna get a PO box.
Bro,
nowhere.
Look, and if it take 35 days for them shoes to come, my grandma always said to buy the shoes out of season anyway. So I'll wait. So I'll get my winter boots now.
I'll wait.
And you want to play this tariff game? We know how to play that game,
right?
So yeah, I agree with you, bro. I don't know why we playing this game with China. Go play with Costa Rica. They need us to buy them bananas.
Bro, need us.
China good. They cool, bro. They got a plan.
Right.
I don't know what our plan is, but
I know what my plan is. Christmas about to be booming here.
Oh, bro, my baby about to think that daddy done hit a lick. When I buy my teenage daughter this this SUV from China that cost me $2,000. They can only hold 12 gallons of gas in it.
But it get you back and forth from class.
But it's built like a Kia. Oh yeah, bro. And Merry Christmas, baby.
You can fix that thing with zip ties and duct tape, and it run perfectly.
Bruh. I gotta put it together when it come in, bro.
Well, go ahead. Let me know. I'll grab some tools.
Yeah.
We will get Google Translate, try to figure out these instructions, and we put it together.
And we'll put but if that's how much it costs, I got an electric car for my baby for $2,000 straight from China. That's what I'm talking about. And I ordered it off the TikTok shop.
But then you had to pay the tariff, so it's still a $3,000 car.
But still
cheaper than a smart car.
Sorry, Elon. So yeah, man. Hopefully, man. I'm sure by the time this episode drops, there's gonna be some more crazy tariffs going. But I think that it was to round it up. I think that there was an announcement by the Democrats that they were gonna look to see was there a possibility of market manipulation.
Okay.
Okay.
Y'all ain't done nothing since Cory Booker got up there and read his 96 thesis.
Bruh.
Don't get me started.
While I do believe there is some market manipulation that may be going on, as a good man Kenny Rogers would tell you, you got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to fold them. Know when to walk away. Know when to run.
You ain't got to fight every battle.
You ain't got to fight every battle, bro. At the end of the day, you're going to waste the money. They benefited from it if it is going on, so they ain't going to oust themselves.
Right.
So if I ain't gonna lie to you, maybe if I'm one of them Democrats, I'm trying to get across the aisle and ask how can I get in on this?
Hey, I got to do what? When?
What time y'all? I saw y'all at the back of the bar talking last night. What y'all talking about? Y'all got something I want in.
So I saw them chuckling and carrying on at Ben's Chili Bowls. Like, hey.
Yep. I want in.
Somebody came over. Oh, I got all their meals.
See, that's the bipartisanship that you need to be worried about. Why the water murky? Get in the boat.
Hey, y'all seem to be having fun over here. Yeah, I want to have fun too.
While we getting greasy, let me get a piece.
Right.
That's all. But yeah, but we'll see what happens. I'm sure that by the time this episode, like I said before, dropped, that there'll be some more going on, and maybe the plan will come to fruition. Maybe the Democrats will find out there's mass market manipulation, and they'll do something about it. But we'll see.
Maybe not.
I'm not holding my breath.
I haven't seen the Vegas odds, but they probably not too good.
They ain't looking good, brother. So that is our coverage on the tariff war, trade war that we got going on. And hey, China, if you got some of that merchandise that you thinking about, wanting the boys the promo for you, you want to set up some promotion merch.
Right. We run a brand deal. Come on,
look. We just because we are an American-based podcast don't mean that we not a equal opportunity.
Bro. The kid needs some new suits and a variety of dress shoes.
Yep, let's do it. Let's make a deal. Let's make a deal. All right. So our next topic that we want to bring up.
We spent a whole lot longer than I expected, but yeah, man.
Hey, but our next topic is Donald Trump versus the Supreme Court on deportation. Dun, dun, dun. So we know that there have been some sparks of legal implications as Donald Trump has tried to use an old 1798 Alien Enemies Act to deport people. And I believe that he specifically brought this up in the recent deportation of gang members from Venezuela. Those legal challenges have happened. And I believe that on the 7th, the Supreme Court voted for a 5-4 decision. They actually lifted the lower court's order saying that he couldn't use this, that he's now able to use this to continue to deport those that he deems need to be deported under this act. But I wanted to bring up this case as far as him going against the Supreme Court because we have a gentleman by the name of Kilmar Garcia. He's a Maryland resident. Shout out to Maryland. That's where my in-laws and my wife is from. And shout out to Westmore. Brother Westmore. So he's a Maryland resident with legal protection against deportation, but was mistakenly deported to El Salvador back in March. And despite a court order safeguarding him from removal, he was sent to the deportation center anyway, where he remains detained in El Salvador. On April the 10th, the Supreme Court affirmed the lower court's directive that the government must facilitate Garcia's return. So I don't mean to laugh at this bad situation, but the man was deported incorrectly.
Completely incorrectly.
Well, first of all, let me back up.
Illegally would be the correct word.
The man left El Salvador so that he could not, I guess in El Salvador, I guess there's this thing where the gang members like go to the school and they try to recruit kids at a very young age to get them in the gangs and yada, yada, yada. So he feared that and he fled and he came to the United States legally.
Legally?
Legally. He had the right to be here. He went through the correct process and he was here legally. Somehow, which I'm to no surprise that the Trump administration and this whole deportation is a mess. He was deported back to El Salvador illegally. Mm-hmm. And the Trump administration had the nerve to say, he's over there in their custody. We don't have to do anything to get him back over here. And it went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, "Yeah, nah, you gotta go get him. you gotta go get him." And so far, our latest update, they're supposed to actually give a daily update of what they're trying to do to facilitate his return. And so far, no details have been given on what they're trying to do to get this man back home.
I want to take a quick moment. Because I think there was a key detail that I want all of our listeners to understand. Mm-hmm. When they said they had to go get him, the Supreme Court voted 9-0.
Oh, wow.
That means you got Justice Ketanji Brown voting the same way as Clarence Thomas, saying, nah, y'all need to go get him.
Y'all go get that man, bro.
9-0.
That's wild. That's wild.
Our most divided Supreme Court possibly in history. I know that can be debated, but the most divided I've seen. I'll say that one. 9-0. Everybody said go get him, and you know, I knew we would eventually hit a constitutional crisis. Mm-hmm. I didn't know this was going to be the route that we got there. I knew it was going to be a route. No, I didn't know. No one knows. We're all guessing here. I knew we would eventually run into something, but like, it's going to be very interesting to watch the next steps. And also looking at the precedent that this sets. Mm-hmm. So if we're just going to allow people to be kidnapped, let's call it what they did to him. They kidnapped this man and sent him out of the country, and then said, "Ooh, here's the line. I can't cross that line." You were saying this as president of the United States, the same United States that sent in a SEAL team,
bruh,
over the cover of darkness to go get Osama bin Laden, who was being protected potentially by Pakistan. That same United States. Mm-hmm. Oh, now we scared to go get people, and it doesn't even sound like some of the basics have happened. Like, I'm almost certain that if Donald Trump gives a call down to El Salvador, hey man, we messed up, send them back, that they wouldn't be like, oh no, we go, okay, cool. Like, this sounds like it could be handled with a phone call.
Very much so.
But it's like they don't want to make the phone call. So it's almost like they want this legal capacity to be able to take people who speak down on the administration and send them out the country.
Yep. I think it's just wild because, I mean, just take it outside of the legal perspective and just out of just right and wrong. If you made a mistake, then you should fix it.
Just own it.
Then you should own it and you should fix it, right? If I worked at McDonald's and you ordered a number one with no pickles and I gave you pickles and you say, hey man, I didn't need pickles, I didn't ask for pickles, and I look at you and say, sorry, you ain't gonna fix it.
All right.
you ain't gonna do nothing about it. Like, you did, this is wrong, you're not going to make it right? Most of us would say that's crazy. Well, you did something, America, that was wrong. You should make it right. This man was taken from his home. He shouldn't have been. You need to go get this man.
Now, also, hold on. You said something in a way that caused me to think about this in a different light. The U.S. doesn't have necessarily the greatest track record of making things right with people they did wrong. We just don't. We just don't.
We're talking about someone that does not have a very good customer ranking.
Yeah. No.
1 out of 5 stars on Google.
Not great.
But bro, I mean, just the whole thing about this, that it had to, why did it even have to go to the Supreme Court? Like you didn't find out that you were wrong once it got to the Supreme Court and was like, oh man, we jacked up. You knew you were wrong before it even got there.
Right.
Hence the lower court making the ruling that it made in the first place. Like, this is so wrong. And I don't think that you're going to find that Donald Trump's going to make the call, or maybe he is. I guess, is he forced to, because the Supreme Court has said, no, you have to go get him, or you have to facilitate his return?
I think that's the part where we don't know. Like, I think that is the part that becomes a constitutional crisis. What if the executive branch just decides not? And there's a couple things that could happen.
Okay.
And man, so what you could happen, what I think is likely to happen, is you could see Congress step in and start stripping power from the presidency.
I think that's a real life. I'm not gonna say it's a possibility, but it should be something that should be explored, because if we're gonna talk about how Doge has handled some of the things they've done and how that should be going through Congress, I think some of these deportations, the process of overseeing these deportations should be done as well, because obviously the people that are either in leadership or are invoking what the process or strategy of doing this are not obviously taking multiple factors into consideration, because if that was the case, we wouldn't be making so many mistakes.
Right. Like, and we've seen constitutional crises like this before. And when I say it in this vein, I really just mean a situation that's popped up that the Constitution doesn't specifically say what to do in this situation. What you usually find is that there is a judicial enforcement as well. So they could be held in contempt of Congress and a referral given over to the Department of Justice to impeach people over this. Now, do we have a Department of Justice that will do it in this standpoint?
I don't think so.
I don't know. Usually there is political ramifications where people lose offices, party loses power. There's a lot of things that are floating around, and usually there is a reaction to it. And if Mr. Trump is not careful, we could watch a scenario, and maybe it's not this case, maybe it's another case that happens down the line, where Congress could strip a lot of the president's power. And if I were to ask you this question, and I don't even know, hold on, let me, Jeezy, who is the president of Israel?
I don't know who it is, because Nettie is the prime minister, correct?
He runs their Congress. He runs their Congress.
First, where is the president in all of this?
So Isaac Herzog is the current president of Israel.
Well, what does he do?
So in Israel, the presidency is largely ceremonial. Because most of the executive power is vested in the prime minister, Big Natty. So in Israel, the president plays a role more as a unifier, comforter in chief, overseeing the formation of new governments following elections and that piece. But like, y'all keep playing around, and we keep seeing one man that has all this power, and we're getting ready to see one man that will not have all this power, and then the presidency is ceremonial. I don't think Trump wants that. But it could happen if we keep playing with fire. But also, go get this man. This man got a baby. Go get this man back.
Yeah, I think that when you bring that up, Manny, that makes me think that we're flying a little too close to the sun. because it was also reported that Trump did another controversial policy where he classified over 6,000 living immigrants as deceased. And in doing this, he canceled their Social Security numbers, which means that it cut off their access to employment, banking, housing, and other essential services. And the whole goal of him doing this was to pressure these individuals whom had legally entered the United States, granted under a Biden-era parole program, still legal, he's trying to force them to self-deport themselves.
I hope all these 6,000 people have very large credit cards with large credit card lines. Cool. I'm gonna buy everything, and I'm leaving.
But my thing in this is, first of all, you already make errors as is in this process. Who's to say that of those 6,000 you got all of those right? And even in that 6,000, they legally are
They're
here.
legally here.
This is not a and just as a nation, I want our listeners to understand this, those of you that are here in the United States. Why do we think that this is okay? If this was you, if this was your brother, if this was your uncle, if this was your mother or your father, would you be okay with the approach that the country is taking? Think of well, I said mine, but the homie Mahmoud Khalil, whose wife at the time that he was taken into custody, she was 8 months pregnant. Now I would assume now the baby's about two or three. I think at this point now the baby should be born in about almost 2 or 3 months old by this point. I mean 2 months old, or tipping towards it. This man hadn't seen his newborn kid. He wasn't there for his wife to support her in her labor. He wasn't there to cut his child's umbilical cord. He wasn't there to none of that.
Right.
All because he disagreed with something the country did. And now we're saying that it's okay for us just to start just deporting any and everybody.
Any and everybody.
Like, how do we think as a nation that this is okay?
And for us to think that if at some point this doesn't move on from just people who are immigrants, but to U.S. citizens.
Yeah.
They could be looking at the boys at the pod and be like,
bro, listen.
Y'all got to go.
Because when we thought about this deportation thing, and we joked about how Big Tom Homan was going to go do his thing, I did not expect it. This to me, in my opinion, is beyond Homan.
This man went for extra credit.
No, like Homan, from what I can understand, had an objective, and his objective was the people that aren't supposed to be here. Okay, now we're talking about people that have the legal right to be here. Yep. Getting removed. And even down to, I have a concern, Manny, because even when you think about now with voting, you have to have right of proof of citizenship or that to me sounds like it could get real funky if people aren't careful. So I just don't understand. Is there a need for reform in our immigration process? Yes.
10,000%.
Nobody does not disagree with that at all. Are there people here that shouldn't be here illegally? Yes. But why are we touching the people that are that have the legal right to be here? And why are those people being targeted just because they disagree with an administration's support and approach to certain aspects that are happening both domestically and internationally? This is not okay.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing that we see happening, and we've seen happen in Russia, we've seen happen in China, where they're trying to silence dissent.
Yeah.
Where's the line?
I never envisioned, as long as I lived in this country, America's not great. Let me say that. Love America. We
aspire to. we aspire to be great.
We're not great, but that is the goal that we're working towards. That goal. It's an everyday job.
Yet becoming.
But I never thought that what I would see in countries that I've never been to, never lived in, that I've seen and read about. I never thought that I would see those things playing out in my own country, and the suppression of free speech to the point that if you oppose these countries, like I think it's wild that you go to North Korea, and the men can only pick from 12 different haircuts. That's wild to me.
High top fade,
bro. Tate, bowl cut,
number 7,
a number 2 with a razor line, like I thought. To me, that is wild, right? That a country has that much control, that they control what you look like from a haircut. Mm-hmm. And they control that at certain points in time. You have to do this. What you watch on TV, they control what you watch. You can't even have the freedom to watch what you want to watch. Well, are we not tipping, at least taking a 2-step?
Get a little bit closer
to that direction of control. So it's weird to me that people say free speech, but if the free speech ain't catered to what I believe it should be, now we got a problem. And the problem is detaining you and deporting you. And to a point you said earlier, when does it start happening to people that have every single aspect of right to be here? I.e., let's say that if it was me, or you, we run this podcast. What is it that
they're gonna send both of us?
Oh, bro, yeah. If we going down, together. You come get me. You gonna have me.
We ride together.
Hey,
we die together.
We ride together.
Bad
we
boys
die
for
together.
Life. Bad boys for life.
But when it comes to that, and it comes to me and what I say and how I oppose the government, then what are the implications for me as a person that's legally been here? Now, if you're going to send me back to Africa, can I at least pick? Because you don't know where I came from. You don't know where I came from, and neither do I. Now, are you going to hold me in custody until my ancestry DNA test results come back? And then you send me back to Benin and Togo, or you?
Am I going to Ghana? Am I going to Nigeria? Where am I going?
Just don't send me to South Africa, because send me to South Africa, because Trump's already offered a path for South African farmers to come to the United States. Right. So then that's my way back in.
They about to trade you. You about to get traded.
I'm gonna get traded for a 3rd round pick to South Africa.
Future considerations,
bro. With future considerations to come back as a farmer. But to your point, Manny, where's the line? And where's the accountability? And where is the line going to be drawn that this administration is going to say, screw the Supreme Court, screw the lower court's ruling, we're not facilitating anything? And I hope to God that this doesn't happen. Because we know that in El Salvador, he's in a facility where he's in danger. His life is in danger.
Incredibly.
What happens when we wait too long and, God forbid, this man
something happens,
dies in prison? He dies in custody.
Now, El Salvador, I don't believe is stupid. That man has probably now been put in solitary.
Hopefully.
Or he's moved into the worst pod in prison. Either are a possibility.
Yeah.
But if I'm El Salvador, I'm like, oh, they're getting ready to call. Or somebody's getting ready to reach out. And or if I was El Salvador, I'd try to make myself look good. But, oh, he's here wrong? We'll send him back. We've just pulled him out. He's safe. We're sending him back today. I could see that happening. And it's not, I think, becomes a temperature of Congress. Yeah. Like, how long are y'all going to let him go? Because y'all know he's wilding. Like, how long before y'all step in and be like, because he's stepping around you. With this whole tariff thing, Trump has completely stepped around you guys. Y'all going to let Trump punk y'all out like that?
And I just want to say this. I just looked this up to something you said earlier. From the understanding that I'm seeing on the internet, the El Salvador president and Donald Trump have a very close and strong relationship. So, like you said, to your point, he could definitely call and pick up the phone, and this won't be a problem at all. Mm-hmm. So this is a choice.
Yep.
That you're being defined against the highest court in the land and saying, nah, bro, I'll do it when I get ready.
Yeah.
That's wild, bro.
We gonna see.
Yeah, man. Well, that is our coverage on the deportation. I hope all of these individuals are safe. I hope that they get the justice that they need and return home. I know that things may get a little bit more hairy for Mahmoud Khalid, because I think that they did rule, in fact, a court did rule, in fact, that he could be
sent.
Could be deported, which is as a father, as a family man, that's terrible. And that whole situation is just crazy. So hopefully it works out for him. And I would hope that someone will intervene, or Congress will intervene to get a hold of this deportation before it gets to a point that it just becomes an utter disaster and affects someone or someone's that really truly don't need this in their lives at all.
Don't need it all.
But yeah, that is our coverage of that. And as you guys know, we have reached the period of our episode to bring a little bit of laughter, hopefully, into this episode of our pickle of the week.
We've got your pickle. We've got your pickle. We've got your pickle.
All right.
What we got in the brine?
Our pickle of the week. The pickle of the week isn't necessarily a person. It's a company. And that company is Meta. Meta is in a pickle.
Good.
Yes.
Good.
Cause we got beef with
Meta.
We
got beef with y'all.
So yeah, y'all been, before y'all got in the brine, we had some coals ready, hot and ready for y'all anyway. But it was reported this past week that a Meta whistleblower, which was a former executive, accused the company of compromising U.S. national security and exploiting vulnerable users. She testified. Her name was Sarah Williams. She testified that Meta secretly collaborated with China on AI development and helped build censorship tools for the Chinese government. She also alleged that Meta targeted mentally vulnerable teens for profit by sharing sensitive data with advertisers. She actually wrote a memoir called Careless People, where she details extensively these claims. Now, of course, Meta has denied these allegations, and they are attempting to take legal action to suppress her disclosure of details. Meta, I believe him.
First, I think it was one Curtis 50 Cent Jackson who said this quote: "They did that, guilty." Guilty. They did that.
I believe wholeheartedly. And you know what? Get Meta up out of here. Yeah, so I'm sorry, aunties and grannies that love to use Facebook, but y'all gotta go. Facebook a weird place anyway.
But girl, I hope you stay safe.
They own you.
They stay safe.
Oh yeah,
stay safe
they
in
own
these
you.
streets.
And I believe there's and I believe she testified, if not on Congress, about these allegations. And I believe there has been call where they're going to bring in Meta and good old Mark to testify before Congress. So hopefully that happens. I believe it was actually a Republican that Josh Hawley, I believe his name is. Yep. He's called for Meta CEO to testify before Congress, accusing him of misleading lawmakers and compromising national security. So, Meta, you might be in a pickle.
I mean, maybe this wouldn't have happened. First of all, that's what y'all get for blocking the pod.
Yep.
and taking down all my profiles.
Yep. We don't have no Facebook. We don't have Instagram. They still won't let us have it. They're supposed to contact the pod and have a discussion. They never did. So yeah, and I see why. Y'all out here doing stuff y'all ain't got no business doing.
Greasy.
Should have been doing the Lord's work, but you out here indulging in the devil's work.
Now look at you. Now look at you hurting. So, shout out to the whistleblower for coming forward with these details. Stay safe.
Stay safe, my love. Watch over your shoulder. Check your food. Don't DoorDash anything.
Nothing.
And don't be out past 7.
Definitely in before the streetlights come on.
Yep. And you don't use any public restrooms. Definitely don't do that.
Nope.
Well, shout out to her for coming forward with these details, because Meta, you got a bit of a situation. So that is my pickle of the week. Good luck, Meta. Don't wish nothing but the absolute worst for you.
Absolute worst. Absolute worst. Nothing but bad things.
So
I want every executive, when they open up a bag of Lay's potato chips, to have 2 chips.
Yep.
And they're both cracked.
Yep.
It's a bag full of crumbs.
Good luck. And Congress do the right thing for once. And get them up out of here. Get them up out of here. So that is our pickle of the week. So as you guys know, at the end of every episode, we give you our spotlights of the week. So with that being said, Manny, what are your spotlights of the week?
I got 2. Coming back to one that I brought up last week, because we got some more developments. In North Carolina, the battle for the North Carolina Supreme Court rages on.
Oh, okay.
So earlier, there was a lower court ruling that said, hey, these 60,000 ballots, we got to throw them all out. They don't count. Let's get them out of here. Let's recount it. Well, that was appealed to the Supreme Court, to which they ruled that there's of the 60,000 ballots that were from long form registrations, and those lack certain identification numbers, such as driver's license, last digits of their social. They said these ballots should be counted, and that the reason that they're missing the information is on the specific election officials. It's no fault of the people who registered. So now that those have been counted, now we're into a new 30-day period for these military and overseas voters who've never resided in the U.S., aligning with state residency laws. So they have 30 days for those overseas voters to cure their ballots and get all that information correct for them to be counted. So another 30 days, but I think if you're Justice Riggs, this is a big win for you. Yeah. And for Jefferson Griffin, this is not the information. This is not the news that you wanted. For those of you who are keeping score, Justice Riggs is currently up by 734 votes. Wow. And a quick reminder, there were 5.5 million people who voted in that race. Wow. So that one is sure to be interesting, and we will be seeing stuff playing out over that. All right. And now for my next one. I realized while this was probably a very humorous episode, it was maybe a little bit heavy. So I'd like to play a clip for you.
I think it was a letter or a report that I heard this morning. I wish I could remember the source, but that there is a school system that's going to start making sure that first graders or even pre-Ks have A1 teaching, every year starting, that far down in the grades. And that's a wonderful thing.
So
A1?
I heard this and I said, A1 teaching. Cool. Thought about it. Another 5 minutes. I kept scrolling. I was like, whatever, keep going. And I was like, wait a second. What the heck is A1 teaching? And I was like, hold on. She can't mean AI, right? And she can't be talking about the sauce. They can't be talking about teaching pre-K kids about A1 steak sauce, because first off, if you need A1 steak sauce for your steak, then your steak, you don't have a quality steak. You got one of those Dollar Tree steaks, and I understand. throw some of that A1 sauce. But Linda McMahon, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. I am embarrassed.
Embarrasses.
Not only as a fan of WWE, but I am offended as a fellow alumni from the greatest university in the country, East Carolina. You out here embarrassing your fellow alumni, talking about A1. And you in charge of the education department, so bro, we might be cooked, man. We might be cooked. So,
we might be in a pickle. Oh Lord, Linda.
So those are there's a lot of stuff floating around this week. We'll see what happens with everything else, but those are my 2 spotlights.
Okay.
What you got for us?
Mine isn't political of any nature, but I want to give a shout out to our brother Chuck.
Hey,
Chuck has released this past week the first episode of his brand new podcast, Encompassed Podcast. So I would advise our listeners, go check it out. He's our brother. He's under the LXI umbrella. And he's been talking about this podcast for quite some time, and he took the leap of faith and got out there and got it put out to the masses, and it has some very exceptional content, and I believe that he is on to something that will be very long lasting and enjoyable to anyone that takes some time and listen to it. So I would just tell all our listeners that if you would, go out there and look up Encompass Podcast. It's spelled NCOMPASSD Podcast, and check our brother out. So he's going to be along with us. You guys have seen him. For those of you that tuned into our live
election night coverage,
election night coverage, Chuck was up there with us, and you may hear him from time to time come on an episode with us. Check him out, give him a listen, give him a follow on his social. I believe he's on all social media platforms, and if you go to our social media on Twitter, you'll see that he's up there as well too. So check him out. Good luck to you, brother. Welcome to the podcast game. We're sure you're going to do well, and we wish you nothing but the best, and we look forward to the success you have with Encompass Podcast. So shout out to them. So
second pod out of LXI Studios.
Yes, sir. Second pod out of the studio. So we're very excited about that, and shout out to our engineer Frank that take care of all of us and gets us sounding as crisp and as pristine as we possibly can. So shout out to you as well, Frank, and the whole LXI team. So those are our spotlights. That is the end of this episode. We thank you for tuning in, for listening. Again, if there's any topic, any concerns that you would like for us to talk about or address, or give you our viewpoint or our perspective on it, reach out to us on our socials. That is the episode. So, Manny, you got anything, brother? You good?
Nah, I'm good. I'm not even going to try to look at CNN and try to figure out if anything happened while we were recording.
I'm sure some did.
It'll be in the morning,
bro. We'll figure it out then. So if all hearts and minds clear, we just want to thank you again for listening. And as we always tell you at the end of every episode, that if don't nobody love you, just know that the boys here at the pod, we love you. We appreciate you. Have a great week, and we'll see you in the next episode. Take care, world.